Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wise Kracks, featuring the crack man himself, Bill Krackomberger, and our co-host, John Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wise Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Wise Kracks. Bill Crackman is back in the studio. The weather's changing. It's getting nice. There's pine tar smell in the air.
Oh yeah,
baseball season.
Yeah, no, the weather's perfect here. This is a great month to come out to Vegas. The next 2 months from now, April, May. Wow, that's like the most popular months I think in Vegas. It's perfect. And I was in Jersey there for a while, and even yesterday it was like 30 degrees in Jersey. They were freezing. So I'll be here for a while. I'm looking to go to some golf tournaments, probably some PGA events in April. But besides that, I'll probably be here. Yeah.
Now, do you ever go to any spring training baseball?
I went to Tampa Bay, which was really cool. It was really cool to see the Yanks play in Tampa. Yeah. They had a split squad that day, but it was cool to see.
You went recently?
No.
Okay.
Last season, a couple seasons ago. It was the year before COVID, actually.
Okay.
And unbelievably, it was like you walk right in. There wasn't a lot of people.
Yeah, it's great, right?
It's just great atmosphere. Yeah. It was so fun. I recommend anyone to do that.
It's noticeably different than going to a regular season game.
I loved it.
Yeah,
it was great.
It's fun.
It was great.
Well, we've got a great show today. We've got John Laghezza joining us a little later. He's a baseball writer for The Athletic, and we'll obviously talk about the new baseball rule changes and things like that. But there's a lot to cover before we get to all of the baseball stuff. The NFL announced the overtime rule change, but only for the postseason.
Big discussion on Twitter yesterday. And not only amongst the regular fans, it's amongst the sharp sports bettors. Some like it, some don't like it. So it's a new rule, and it's only for the postseason. So we'll see what happens here. I actually wish they changed something for the whole season. I don't like coin toss winner. But I understand though that they're going maybe by looking at the past, and they're saying only, I think it was 53% our producer said regular season the team that won the coin toss won the game compared to 10-2 postseason. So we'll see what happens.
Does that change anything for you betting wise?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it would. It really doesn't affect the line too much. But again, it's just postseason, so just the way that you watch the game. I think people that are betting live get some more opportunities to bet live, since it's going to be dual possession in overtime, not just one if someone gets a touchdown. So.
Now, I don't know if it's because I pay more attention because of the show now to off-season moves, but I don't remember seeing this many big names shuffling around in the NFL.
You're right about that. It's not just Brady coming back. There's a lot. We got some big names that are on Deshaun Watson. These guys are signing for life-changing money for neighborhoods. I mean, $230 million. I mean, Matt Ryan to the Colts, Carson Wentz to Washington, Russell Wilson to the Broncos. These are major names too. So it doesn't usually happen where there's no like. My father always used to say like he knew like Jeter was going to be a career Yankee. There's really no situation where someone. I think that probably stopped when I was a little kid. I remember New York was shocked by Bobby Bonds being traded. Like Barry Bonds' father, for most of the kids that don't know. It doesn't really happen anymore where you have career like a Dave Winfield signed for 10 years, $20 million with the Yanks. You knew he was going to be there for 10 years. It was a solid thing, and my grandfather, I remember being shocked that this is ridiculous. 1980, you're paying someone $2 million a year. If Grandpa only knew, that's like almost starting salary now.
The only guy I think that, does Mike Trout retire an Angel? I think he might be the only guy. Yeah. Maybe Kershaw. Yeah. Right? Maybe this might be Kershaw's last year and hangs it up. But it's such a rare thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it really is. There's guys that there's just no team. I can't think of. There's someone that got traded. He was on the Yankees. My father thought he was going to be a career Yankee. He got traded to Seattle. I just can't think of his name. Oh, Robin Cano.
Robinson Cano. Yeah.
Robinson Cano.
For sure.
So my dad thought he was going to be a career
me too.
Yankee.
Yeah.
And I think his career went down, actually, for not staying in New York. So,
yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
The Bills announced a new $1.4 billion stadium, groundbreaking scheduled for next spring. 62,000 seats, and it's not in a dome.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like Green Bay. If you put a top on top of Green Bay, a dome, maybe you wouldn't get that excitement, and you wouldn't get the memories of the Ice Bowl and the nice benches and stuff. The only thing, like you're talking about, will it host a new Super Bowl, and I don't think that anyone's going to want to play a Super Bowl in those conditions. Now, I do know that there was a Super Bowl, I think it was 2014, and the Meadowlands in New York. That was the year the Broncos, I think it was the Broncos when they played somebody, but Seattle maybe. But it was like 43-8 or something, the score. But I think that won't happen there. The difference in conditions from New York City or even the Meadowlands, New Jersey, all the way up to past upstate on the Buffalo on the Canada border. I do not think that that will be suitable for a Super Bowl anytime soon, but who knows?
Yeah. Final Four is here. St. Peter's gave us one of the greatest runs ever. They cashed at money lines of 1,400, plus 1,400, plus 325, and plus 650.
Yeah. They were big underdog, big Cinderella story, but Cinderella definitely came to an end there. So, but yeah, no, they had a great run. More power to them, I guess. Always root for someone underdog. Now we're at the literally now we're at the power guys. I mean, these guys. As a matter of fact, I gave an interview to someone recently, and the interview I gave. Literally, I put a quote on the interview that I really liked. These teams are just. I am looking forward, which I don't watch a lot of basketball throughout the year. I am looking forward to watch this. You have 17 titles between these four teams.
Wow,
this is really this is elite stuff. I look forward to watching these games. Incredible storylines. Not only Coach K, it's just it says he's retiring. Duke and UNC meet like for the first time in this kind of situation. Villanova trying to get back to the big dance. This is going to be fun. This will be a fun weekend.
Now, Bill, on the road to get there, Little Birdie told me that Crack Wins subscribers went 5-0 on the Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. Yeah, no, we had a nice little run there. Yeah, no, I hate talking about things that are just what have you done lately? I mean, people that talk about what I did last week or what you did the last couple of weeks and what a kind of a run we're on. Just to let you know, like we are even better than that. I've had an unbelievable career on Crack Wins. My followers and the bettors know. February I had a losing month. Previous to that was
first in a long time.
8 months.
Okay.
8 months, May of last year.
Yep.
So we had an unbelievable football season. Losing February. These kind of things happen. You do have a losing month or two, but it's over the long period with bankroll management. We make money. So we did have that 5-0 run, and we have some good stuff up. Looking forward to baseball season. We had a good baseball season last year.
And that's probably the most important thing to key in on, right? Is the bankroll management that's why it's so important, because you can, of course you don't want to have a losing month, but when you do, it's not the end of the world.
It's impossible not to.
Right.
So, yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Okay, and so there's tons of money being bet and lost on Final Four.
Yes.
By the public. What can you add for us?
I mean, you have two games here. You're down to the end. It looks like the Wise guys are on a favorite here. They're on Duke. Some of the Wise guys syndicate groups, and I'm even surprised they would bet this time of the year. It's very rare that I'll have. I mean, I possibly will have a game. I have a first half selection that on the total, but a side, boy, these are like betting NFL sides. They're really tough right now. I wish Duke was sitting a little bit lower. Maybe I would like them. But as Dick Vitale, who was a previous guest on Wise Kracks, said this week, I mean, he actually likes, for a lot of reasons, thinks that UNC can, I don't want to say upset them, since they've just beaten them in the past. I mean, but he thinks that they may be a good play. So this will be fun games to watch, and I wouldn't go so crazy as to be betting a large portion of your bankroll on anything in these last 3 games in college basketball.
It's the wisdom that you share a week in and week out, and it's like it goes back to, I think, last football season. You would say you don't have to bet just because it's on TV,
and people will.
Right.
People will.
But it's funny, right? It's like it's it's using that emotional, the average bettor or whatever uses that emotional side, like to have the action that makes the game more fun to watch. And
I went to the Wynn last Thursday for the first round. Well, not the first round, but I guess the first round of Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I went to the Wynn. My buddy had seats right up front in these nice seats. And I turned around, there's 1,000 people behind us. The Wynn, by the way, like my favorite casino in town. And throughout the day, there had to be at least 10 people that came up to me and asked me who I like, what am I on, what do we do now, And everyone, even if I didn't tell them I like something, they still say, I got to bet. I mean, a guy next to me betting $20 a game, he's like, yeah, I got to bet. I got to put a bet on this stuff. Like, if you don't like something, he literally sat next to me. There was an empty seat. And just to ask me some questions like that. And he went up to the counter and bet like $100 on like 5 different bets or 4 different bets, no matter what. They're going to bet no matter what. So,
right.
It's the reason why the casinos stay in business and the sportsbooks stay in business.
And it's easy for you to skip and just watch and enjoy the game, or even if you're not watching it.
I might have had one bet the whole day.
Sit out.
2 bets the whole day that day. Yeah,
it's okay to sit out.
Yeah.
Wait for the edge, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Or the perceived edge, I guess you could call it. It's an edge.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, moving right along, I should remind everyone to download the Krackwins app. Baseball season right around the corner. I mean, it's not even around the corner. It's here. I mean, they're playing preseason games right now.
Yeah.
Head over to crackwins.com or just download the app on Apple or Google Play. Now is the time to start. Last year, Krackwins members went 132-98 and 11. Is that 11 ties?
11 ties. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. 130 on totals.
Yeah.
So you know, seeing that record, that could be achieved by a lot of people if they're just betting big favorites. But 132-98. But that's not the case with us. We're mostly on underdogs. So the bottom line is profit. We also had Ohtani at 30-1.
Yeah.
Which I bet many different times. A lot of people. Oh my God! I had so many people that text me, thank you. I mean, they got anywhere from 27-1 to 30-1 on that future. We just sent out a future yesterday that was 18-1, and a lot of places don't even have it up yet. But the 3 or 4 big sports books that had it up all had it about 18-1, and they're down to like 15-1, and even one at 10-1. So I affected the market.
You actually moved a future line, which I want to say is almost impossible.
Yeah, DraftKings moved from 18-1, which I've seen it. I made a copy of it, and they moved right down to 15-1. FanDuel had 16-1, which I still is a bet, and moved right down to like 12-1.
And I'd like to go back to the 132-98 because that's an important number. Because those of you that are watching, I'm going to address you guys right now. You may see other guys that claim to do what Crack does, boasting that they're like 132-5 or 140-6 or whatever. Listen to me. It is nonsense. Don't go down that rabbit hole with them. I've got friends, and you know who you are, that have unfortunately lost a ton of money believing this nonsense marketing that some of these guys do. What's real is Crack will tell you 132-98.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to say 98 losses.
Sure.
And that's what makes Crack wins. To me, that's the go-to. That's the one you got to download.
Yeah, to win like 15, 20 units at the end of the season after juice on any given sport is a giant success.
Right.
Because literally a football season, we've won so many units, but like that's just anyone that can win a unit. People actually say to me though, that's no big deal. I can do that. 60%. I can do that. Okay, let's see someone hit 60% over the course of a season. It can happen like an anomaly, or it can happen, but it's not going to be something consistent. And we've been consistent every year. So.
Yeah. So download the Krackwins app today. Get on the baseball side of things. Opening day is right around the corner. And so, Bill, I see in the notes here. So I saw you put out this tweet a few days ago, or maybe you actually drove to Arizona.
I put out a tweet. I asked people what experience they have going over the border, driving to Arizona for their 20+ some sports books, and got a wide plethora of answers. I mean, I got 130,000 impressions, like literally tons of views and tons of answers. Some people didn't realize it. A lot of people actually said drive to Prim, the border of Prim, drive to
the California border.
A lot of people. I mean, more than once.
Yeah.
People just they interpret their own.
Well, I did too. Actually, I actually said, well, couldn't you just? Because for some reason I thought DraftKings you could
That's
do.
What people think.
In California, but you can't.
California, yeah, people think that.
No good. Prim no good for your sports bets, guys.
But about 45 minutes away. You can get to the border. Literally, I can get to Boulder Dam in about 33 minutes. About another 20 minutes past that, there's a little rest stop there with a couple. It says last stop for gas, and but there's all Wi-Fi there. There's a little saloon, Rosie's Saloon and bar there. And you get Wi-Fi right there. Pop on it, and I literally put in like $30,000 in future bets and turned around and drove back.
Now, would that mean that you don't need to go back east as often, or no?
Well, maybe. I'm actually thinking of going there today. Actually,
really?
Yeah, because there's some futures that came up, and they're the first people that have these NFL over/under season wins. I mean, you have to tie up money for 10 months, so I don't recommend it for everybody. But there's some good numbers out there still in the baseball market, which I'm going to grab.
Am I correct in assuming that Bill Krackomberger likes to get in the car and go for a little drive and zone out and not have nobody bothering you?
I really enjoy it.
Listen to some content, some sports talk, whatever.
Actually will,
you do,
I'll
right?
Listen to the podcast. I'll drive. I have no problem driving to L.A., San Diego by myself. And
see, I know you, Bill Krackomberger.
That's 100% correct. Yeah.
Yeah. You know why I say that? Because you are a lot like my dad in many ways.
Yeah.
The things that you guys like.
I told you your dad called me the other day. You got a little jealous. You didn't know about that, did you? Yeah. I told on the way in, I was like, "Yeah, your father called me." He goes, "What?"
I call you to tell you. I go, "Yeah, my dad's coming to town this weekend. You want to go?" You're like, "Yeah, I know. He talked to me the other day."
He called me the other day.
Bill, when's the last time you cracked open WSN.com? I'd like to know.
10 minutes ago. I was just right before we got on air. I was reading something. They have great stories.
You're consistent.
Yes. Such great stories they have about. I learn about this stuff on here constantly, of great information about different things. But this story, so Virginia had $485 million in January sports betting handle, yet they only managed to have $2.7 million in tax revenue. And I was like, how can that be? And I started reading deeper into this article that's on WSN.com. It's unbelievable the deal that they have made for themselves. They're taxed at 15%, but of their $39 million revenue stream, it looks like they have to subtract all the bonuses and giveaways they offered to gamblers to get that market started. And what was left was a certain amount that was taxed at 15%, which is $18 million, which comes to $2.7 million. I just, I'm looking at places like New York that's making, $100 million, and I'm just like shocked to see these numbers that I'm looking at here. So it's an interesting thing. I don't think you wouldn't read it too much on any other site. That's just some industry news and sports betting news. That kind of stuff interests me. The articles they also have on what's coming up, what states are being legal, what states are talking about being legal. There's more articles in there on Kentucky, Kansas, Oklahoma, Minnesota, Missouri. That's just on the homepage there. But also, of course, what I like, the next to our podcast being the first thing, if you want to go back to look at one of our old podcasts, they're on there. Some of these bonuses in New Jersey, fantastic, looking at them. Caesars, FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM, Bet365. You can go on to the ones that some people don't know about that are in New Jersey. Tipico, $750 risk-free. Unibet, the Hard Rock, which I just signed up with Hard Rock when I was there. There's some really good bonuses there, guys. You should get on to WSN.com, click on the bonuses, click on the states, the articles, everything's there. There's stuff on online casinos, state guides, even fantasy stuff, betting guides, payment methods, really good stuff. Everything in one shot there, WSN.com.
You heard the man. Crackwins.com, WSN.com, that's your winning exacta.
Yeah.
All right, Bill, we're real excited to welcome today's guest. He's an MLB writer for The Athletic. You can find him on Twitter at MLB Moving Average or AVG. It's a great follow. He really looks at the numbers of baseball in a unique way, and I'm excited to welcome John Laghezza to Wise Kracks.
Hey, John. What's going on, buddy?
Guys, I'm such a huge fan. It's really an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on with us. Baseball. Me and John love baseball. I don't know if you know, so to have you on as our first baseball guy of the year. I grew up with baseball, going to Yankee Stadium and Shea Stadium back in Queens. This was my sport, so I love baseball. Love talking about it. I love that we have some guy with analytics because it's not not something we do throughout the year, getting guys that are have a deep dive like this. So we really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to start out, let John Orlando give the first question here for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to talk about my favorite team, which is the Dodgers. So I've got two questions I want to lead off with. Number one is it possible that we got rid of one of my favorites, Corey Seager, and we actually improved, is my first question. Is that what happened? And question number two is Trevor Bauer going to throw any pitches in a Dodger uniform this year?
All right. Well, to the team year over year, money talks. And as good as Corey Seager is, there are flaws in the game, in particular staying on the field. And, availability is that ability that people talk about often. So as much as you like him, I think he's a player that you could definitely win without. He's good, but the Dodgers are really deep. They're always so deep. I mean, to have a player like Gavin Lux, who would probably start tomorrow on, let's say, 2/3 of all pro teams, is just a testament to the depth. As far as Trevor Bauer goes, I like to be very pragmatic and not enter politics. I'm really just into the money and stuff. Right now, I don't see any evidence that he's going to pitch anytime soon. I'm willing to turn around. I really don't care one way or the other, unless we're betting on those Dodger futures, which right now have to be hanging a bit in the balance with a pitcher like that up in the air. We just haven't gotten anything definitive. So I'm really not ready to act on it yet, but my gut tells me right now it's a no. They seem willing to pay him to sit down. $35 million to keep your mouth shut seems like a good price for me, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, John, tell us about what you do, the Major League Baseball Moving Averages. What is it about? How long have you do it? What kind of theories do you explore? Tell us the fans.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much. I have a background in professional trading. I've always been a baseball degenerate. Bill, you mentioned New York. I just have it in my blood. I often kid, not only is my bloodstream, but my son's nursery are pinstriped. We are dyed-in-the-wool Yankee fans, and I even have some of that history in my family. We have some Met fans also that were Dodger fans going all the way back to the 50s, to give you an idea of my family's deep Brooklyn and baseball roots. So it just means the world to me. I've always loved it. My dad was a Stratomatic guy, which for people was like, fantasy before fantasy. So I really have it ingrained in me. I've always loved it. And I really couldn't help but notice the overlap. The Venn diagram where those circles intertwine between trading and baseball. It happens all the time. Man, all the numbers, the idea of fading the public, things that you guys speak about all the time. The overlap was just undeniable. And then when I started getting into it, I said, man, there are some inefficiencies in these betting markets, in particular, guys, just long story short, because it moves so fast. Unlike football, you guys are very big CLV guys. I don't have to teach you. There's nothing I probably could teach you about that. The thing with baseball is the games are only on the vine for 12 hours at a time. We don't have a week for the public and the sharp minds to digest it. Sometimes the Yankees are playing at 7. They're on again at 1. You got to build that sandcastle right on the shoreline, as detailed as you can. But the shore is coming in. It's going to wash it away regardless of outcome. You got to get right back to work. And if you can tell by the speed that I talk and the speed that I move, it helps me. It's a boon for my game. So, Bill, I developed the model to help me digest these numbers faster than everyone else. So I'm up at the crack of dawn every day, running the algo to beat what little CLV I can get. Man, the birth of the MLB Moving Averages algo happened. I created a graphing tool that I use in accordance with the algorithm itself. And it really is it's been great. We returned 15% ROI 3 years in a row. And it's my first 3 years professionally handicapping. I mean, I don't even know if there's anyone else really doing that right now. It's almost been overwhelming. So I'm going to just keep striking while the iron is hot, man. It's been really exciting. I can't wait for baseball.
And a 15% return on everything that you bet. Is that what you're saying? The stuff that you bet?
Yeah, 50? But again, I like to isolate baseball, but that number does include both futures and daily betting. I like to set aside a pre-allotted risk for my futures.
So you will tie up money for the futures, though, for the 6 months.
Yes, but we'll probably get to that. You won't catch me tying up money for 6 months on a minus 110 win total. That you're not going to see me doing. But you might catch me hanging up money on a plus 1,500 or a plus 3,200, right? Something that we think not only might be worth the payoff, Bill, but something that we think as the season progresses, right?
Yeah.
Something you talk about, keeping your eye on the battlefield. How might that odd change? And I can give you one real quick. I love the Brewers this year because they have all the pitching you could stomach. If they come out right now, they're 15-1 to win the World Series. If they come out and win the first 11 games, that odd is going to get chopped in half, and that's a place where we want to be. So there's a few moving pieces here with me. Again, I'm always moving and talking very fast, but there's always a lot of context and nuance that goes into these decisions.
John, I'm about to show John Orlando something on my phone. That's amazing that we have not talked about this. Touch of Bible. What is on my list here as the top bet here that I was going to ask him about? The number one bet, max, as you see there.
Oh, my God.
And I never even said anything about
Can I say it or no?
Yeah. I never said nothing about
Milwaukee over 88.5.
Yeah, Milwaukee over 88.5 wins.
Wow.
I was going to ask you about that. That's my number one. By the way, they're taking some crazy amounts from me. But that was my number one thing to ask you about today was the Brewers over 88.5.
The Brewers, right off the bat, are the best placed, perhaps, to look anywhere for value. Pitching, Bill. I don't know why people bet on hitting when the best hitters only succeed 3 out of 10 times, even just a bit less, when the best pitchers bring their A game more than that. Plus, good pitching defeats good hitting. Give me the pitching all day. There is not a better trio in all of the major leagues outside of, when we're talking Woodruff, we're talking Corbin Burns and Freddie Peralta. Plus, they have possibly the best reliever in the game in Josh Hader and possibly the best setup man in the game in Devin Williams. I don't know why they're 15-1 right now. They're in a very weak division. The Brewers probably should be one of the teams favored for it. Another thing I also, Bill, you could tell I follow your work because I'm going to continue citing you, is when we're thinking about MLB futures, which teams will be adding at the break and which teams will be subtracting at the break. Now, I don't like to cast too wide of a net and say don't bet on bad teams, but put your money in teams that will be investing at the All-Star break. As a younger man, I've made that mistake, Bill, betting on teams with the win total I thought was too low. 63, 64 is too low. But you know what? Even if they're pacing to beat that at the All-Star break, they sell off whatever isn't nailed down, and you end up falling short at the end of the year. So I do love the Brewers over, but I do have to reference what I mentioned before. Unless you're really putting a significant amount of money on it, you have to consider what it means to tie up a minus 110 bet for the next 6 months. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I love the bet and I love the play. I think it's a smash win. But for most people, locking up that money might not be the best move.
That's a great point. Even my guys at Crack Wins, it's tough for them to tie up a significant or even a minuscule portion of their money. People gamble day to day, win day to day. I don't. I luckily enough have the bankroll to do something like that. But even I actually was betting some football futures the other day, thinking to myself, God, I can't. I just bet over under on a couple season wins. They're not going to be cashed till 10 months. It's crazy. But baseball ones even. I always tell people to stay away from the heavily juiced futures market, the 15-1 to 20-1, because there's so much juice. It's interesting. I'll actually point them towards more of the season wins over under. But it's interesting that you say this, so you'll actually bet into that or advise people to bet into that juiced futures market where there's a 25% hold on average on baseball futures. That's how good some of your algorithms show teams that are still valuable, like the Brewers at 15-1 over the season win. So I find that very interesting.
Yeah, it's all about that. It's all about the value, right? I'm not going to just chase the long odds. We want to make sure that the scale is in place, that all the weights are properly placed on that triple beam balance when we're doing it. And again, I'm just beating the dead horse because that's the most important thing to me is where might the odds move throughout the season, and will this team be looking to bolster it or selling off? I could give you an example of a rake that I stepped on. We all going to lose, Bill, and I'm very lucky, but I have the process behind it to have the black in my ledger, but there are losses along the way. And I had bet on the Marlins, the same reason I thought the pitching was there. They'd actually brought in Starling Marte. I thought, okay, maybe they're actually going to make a push. They pulled the rug out from underneath me. They sold off. Marte went Oakland. They went under, right? They lost Pablo Lopez. They ended up going under. And that win total fell short. And now not only did I lock up a minus 110 for 6 months, but I also lost. So right, that's the worst. We kind of assume we're going to win these bets, but we also might lose.
Is part of the reason why Milwaukee is such a big dog for that because it's Milwaukee? Because it's not LA, Boston.
Well, they're not a big dog in their on division, but they're a big dog as far as
for the future, right?
For a future to win the World Series. Maybe it is small market things. I don't know, John. People just aren't taking a hard look at the Brewers. What would be the reasons?
I think listen, you talk to sharp people, get short answers. So you guys are really right over the target. You're right over the target right off the bat. There is an element of, I call it bad team bias. People chase the jersey. So that's part of it. The other part of it is, this is funny. This is the inverse of bad team bias, which is good team bias. People have put the Dodgers in the World Series and are ready to crown them already.
Of course.
I think the point that you make, Bill, is actually really, really prudent. So the Brewers, they probably should be favored, to win the division or whatever. But their odds should actually be better, not for us, should be better for the house, worse for us. They should be a more heavily favored team in a playoff scenario because of the 1, 2, 3 that you get up top with the bullpen. I mean, if we've learned anything about playoff baseball, anything about it at all, big pitching wins playoff baseball.
100%.
We saw the Diamondbacks beat, who is that team that wears pinstripes from the Bronx? The Diamondbacks threw out Kurt Schilling, and Randy Johnson must have pitched like 3/4 of those World Series innings. And guess what? Only one person remembers that. The rest of the people remember who's wearing the ring at the end of the day. So, pitching, nobody can stand toe-to-toe with Woodruff, Burns, and Peralta in short series. I don't know why the Brewers, once you get them into the playoffs, they should be the favorite to win it all.
Wow. So would you say that Milwaukee, I'm just looking at the FanDuel's in front of me, -170. Milwaukee in their NL Central, they're -170. The closest to them will be the St. Louis +240. Everything else is double digits. So would you say that would be a good bet? The Brewers, now, I'm not even shopping. I'm sure I could find 150 just looking at 170. But would you say that's a good bet also, or you're not making that bet?
Did you see me scratching?
I did.
I'm allergic to juice. To juice. I can't. You mentioned 170 and I start itching.
Yeah.
I just can't pay it. I cannot pay it. I mean, this would go for an overnight bet, something again you mentioned. I will never, ever, ever pay juice on my daughter's precious eyes for 6 months. Never, ever. You just can't do it. It's a minus EV venture, people. Even if we think it is like a smash, you would have to tell me that you had a $1 million bankroll and this was, 1/2 of 1% that you were holding over like a CD or something. So much as I love the play, I wouldn't play the odds.
Are you still trading too? Is that still part? Are you still doing some trading or is this full time for you? Okay, you still do trading too.
But yeah. And I'll tell you,
you said crack of dawn. So
yeah, you kind of do that work at nighttime. And I like to, rather than force my will on the market, and the reason I'm going to get into this is because this is applicable to baseball. And one of the things that I said, wow, this is an overlap. People think you're going to walk into the stock market on a Tuesday that you need money as if it's some kind of faucet and turn it on and pull money from the well. That's not how it works. If you want to succeed at trading the same way you need to succeed at betting, the most important thing is the price. So what I do is I go on the computer and I chart stocks in the middle of the night. And I pick the price off. I draw my lines. I chart everything out. I'm very good at technical analysis, but aside from that, and when my phone rings, when that price is hit. So I enter the market when the price meets me. I don't try and force timing on the market. And I think that is one of the best, not only lessons I learned that made me successful in Wall Street, but that made me successful in betting is, sometimes no bet is better than a bad bet. And if I could do this lesson in 30 seconds or less, check this out, Bill, you're going to love this one. This is an automatic invite again for this one. So people, if you start with $100 and you lose $10, easy math, you're down to 90. The next day you make a bet and you make 10% back, right? So you lost 10%, you're down to 90. You make 10%. 10% of 90 is 99. It's not 100. So you cannot even swap 10% losses for 10% wins. That's a net 1% loss. And if you continue to play that out, it's a road to ruin and zeros in the bank account. And that's another one of those things. Risk management and how we handle these things is very important. If the bet is not to your stringent parameters, you just don't take it because a 10% loss takes an 11% win to climb back. So, I hope I crammed a whole bunch into it.
It's absolutely perfect. I know it's absolutely relevant.
Speaking your language, right?
It is. And people see a video poker machine or a slot machine that's a 10% slot machine. It's the same thing. They say, well, 10%. Well, 10% will absolutely eat your bankroll down to zero because it's exactly that. When it's down to 90, it's another 9 off. Then it's down to 81. It goes on and on and on. It's a cycle that will actually ruin you. So fantastic. I know you only got a couple minutes more. John, what do you have?
Well, I was curious about your thoughts on some of the new rule changes. The guy on second base in extra innings is going away. Universal DH. What are some of your thoughts? Do you like what you're seeing?
Okay, well, great. Yeah, you know what? I can't believe I probably have not put enough focus of this forward in my content because it's very actionable as far as the betting markets go. So, man, let's say right off the bat, I think it's better for the game. I think the universal DH is better for the game. We're in an age of hyper-specialized pitchers that make $35 million a year. I don't need to see him bat .085 and then limp around the bases wearing a spring training jacket. Like and they get hurt, right? And they get hurt kind of doing it. So we're joking around, but I think DeGrom's injury was actually swinging the bat. Yeah. So that's all the evidence that I need. To me, let's keep these players safe. And I think that would also extend into the larger second base. Listen, I don't necessarily think it's going to spike speed the way some people tend to. I do think it might save a couple injuries. And again, I'm all for that. I think that's the most important thing. We want to protect the product, even because it's the best betting product. It's the most predictable, right? I mean, we want to eliminate as many variables as possible. And as far as the ghost runner goes, I hate it. As a baseball purist, I really, really hate it. I was very happy when I thought it was gone. I kind of got hoodwinked. It's back. And what I think this matters the most for is I have completely eliminated 9-inning unders from my betting plan. So I think that's what I want to make sure that I leave you when we speak about the rules. And the answer is, well, also, man, if I could tack one on, the -1.5 run line, 9 inning, I'll tell you, guys, I'm just getting away from 9-inning bets altogether. I'd rather bet 5 innings if they're going to put these weird rules at the end, because you used to be up a run in extra innings and think that you were good, up a run going into the bottom of extras, thinking you were good to go.
Right.
But now with a runner on, it can get offset. Or again, I'm sorry, what I should have said is you go into extras tied, thinking that you're good because they're generally decided by one run. One pitch is a 2-run homer, and that run is spoiled. That's probably that's probably the best way for me to put it. But yeah, please, everyone, keep in mind that these rule changes do affect my betting plan. And I'm just not chasing because now these scores get run up. That extra half a run, the extra run matters. I'd rather not play with that. To me, I don't even like
John,
it.
The only thing bad about betting the first 5, and I like betting first 5 because you're betting pitcher versus pitcher, you're paying double the juice at most sports books. So instead of having a 10-cent baseball line, it seems like a lot of these places will, I don't want to say price gouge, because since I've been betting baseball, the first 5 innings is a little bit more juice-wise. Now, they've had some places here in town that actually do charge the regular juice but a lot of these sports books, I noticed the new ones to the market, they're charging so much extra money on juice in general, on anything attached with a money line,
Do you see the smile?
Sure.
You see, the smile's because I'm betting underdogs anyway. So I'm getting a good price. And then, like you said, maybe the most important thing in sports betting is shopping it around. So I'm getting my value. I'm getting plus odds, and then I'm shopping it out to make sure I just try and get those whatever extra little bips and whatever extra percentage points I can get. Just that, at the end of the day, if a few of those fall in your favor, could make the difference between P and L. So as far as the 5s, I do understand. I think that's more prevalent in betting the favorite. But, man, if I could flip that, people, my favorite bet on the board is the plus half run line for F5.
Oh, yeah.
Because I like to identify where I have a pitching edge, Bill, and I can get out with cash in my pocket on a tie game. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I love more than it. I don't know if there's a selfish bet selfishly that makes me more happy than cashing out.
No, not a lot of people have that. Not a lot of sports books, but some of the new ones to the market do have that plus half a run. Yep. Those rule changes, real quick before we lose you here. Those rule changes, are you familiar with them? Are they taking place in 2023 next season, or are there some applied to this season? I don't even know.
No. The Ghost Runner is now. The Ghost Runner is now. I believe the bases are now.
Right.
The shift
maybe 2023.
The shift is going to be in next year.
Okay.
I actually did an article at The Athletic about it. I mean, it is certainly going to affect things, but I'm telling people not to overreact.
Okay.
Just real quick, banning the shift, quote unquote, like I'm doing air quotes.
Yep.
You're still going to be able to have the shortstop standing a millimeter on his side of second base.
Right.
So the balls that go directly up the middle are still going to be double plays. It's not going to eliminate nearly what people think.
Okay, last thing before we let you go here. So let me ask you, you do a lot of stuff on your pitchers Do you think going this year, is there going to be a difference in your handicapping methods, and you're looking because of the the new rules or whatever that pitchers maybe have? They're getting checked more for substances and stuff, I'm hearing. Do you think going forward that'll affect this year, the spin rate or whatever? I know I've read some stuff. I watched you actually. So will that affect you at all going in? Are you taking that in consideration, or is it not really going to affect it?
It's something we absolutely track within the terms of the greater trend, but you got to not overreact to it. I think that's the most important thing. It is something I track, but again, spin rate is just part of the greater puzzle. And I think that's the thing that's affected my work the most, is our new understanding of the ball in flight. And you can follow my work and stuff. I know it's a little complicated, but I try and make it as simple as possible. How we now understand things about attack angles and the spin of the ball and how that affects break and swing and miss, that really kind of matters a lot.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we know you have another show to do. We really appreciate you having you on.
Thank you so much.
And we look forward to having you on again. Maybe we'll have you on again here when baseball starts here. So
I appreciate you.
Anyway, there's his Twitter handle there. You can follow John, and appreciate having you on, buddy. We'll see you again.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Bill, I loved having John Laghezza on the show today.
Oh, he was good.
He was really great.
Yeah.
His energy.
He's a 100-mile-an-hour guy. Most Brooklyn guys are, but yeah, he goes 100 miles an hour. That's good.
We before we wrap up, we must be another one of the thousands of podcasts that are talking about the Oscars the other night. What went on with Will Smith and Chris Rock?
I have something for you.
Tell me.
I honestly, touch a Bible, I would not even know the Oscars were on if it wasn't for
wasn't for that.
I don't follow that stuff. I wouldn't even know the Oscars existed.
Yeah.
I know it's every year. I don't know what time of the year.
Right.
It could have been in July or August. I don't know when it is.
Yeah.
I'm not a Hollywood guy. It's all fake garbage. And this wasn't fake, by the way.
No.
I text one of our producers. He said, it was staged. No, I knew it. You're not going to be staged when he's yelling. Once
he was dropping those F-bombs.
Yeah, this is the Will Smith that didn't have any cursing in his songs, and was kind of a role model, but he has definitely lost it. So I don't know too many people. You mentioned who can get away with this.
I honestly don't think the fact that he got up out of his chair, walked on stage, smacked Chris Rock, and sat back down, and nobody did anything.
Wasn't thrown out.
No one
wasn't
threw him
arrested.
out. Nothing. I think the only two people that could get away with that is Will Smith and The Rock.
Yeah.
I think those are the only two people in Hollywood.
And maybe the kiss ass guy that grabbed him and hugged him, Denzel.
Maybe Denzel.
Yeah. And I think who else grabbed? There was
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper, too.
Yeah,
but he can't. Bradley Cooper can get away with this.
No way. He's getting arrested.
Oh no, he's getting arrested, thrown out. He might still be in jail now.
That was so bad. I mean, and I don't even think what he said was so bad.
Yeah,
and it's a joke.
And to be real blunt, I am now a anti Will Smith guy. So
yeah, I was really bothered by it. I really was. It really bothered me because there's just no place for that.
Comes along with the roles. So Will, I'm sorry you have to. You have $600 million in the bank. You and your wife. I'm sorry you have to deal with those kind of pressure like that and the pressures of life and stuff.
Yeah, and all he had to do was pull Chris aside backstage and say, "Hey man, I don't know if you know, but Jade is going through some health stuff, whatever, and she was really offended by that." Chris would probably be the first guy to apologize.
Yeah, no.
That's not.
He'll make all the money in the end about this, by the way. Yes.
Yeah.
His tickets are in demand. Prices are going up.
Yeah.
For Chris Rock stuff. So, I'm sure.
And I love Chris Rock. I've met Chris Rock. He's a nice guy.
Nice. Good. Good.
Yeah. Chris Rock was once in Adam Sandler's office, and Adam was talking to my dad on the phone. Chris comes into the office. And he says, I'm talking to Tony Orlando. And Chris grabbed the phone and went and talked to my dad for like 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, ask him. He'll tell you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
On one of your many conversations. Ask him.
I'll call him after the show. I'll see if you're telling the truth.
Oh, man. Well, Bill, this was fun stuff. Next week, we're going to have Kracks tips for betting the baseball season.
Yeah.
And a college basketball champion will have been crowned.
Yes.
And the Masters is set to tee off.
Yeah, we're looking to have a good guest on the show. I think we're going to get Bob Papa here in the next week or two. And he's on the Golf Network. And he'll talk, hopefully he comes on next week. We'll talk about the Masters a little bit.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
See you next week. And we will see you next week on Wise Kracks.